Hi, Mom.
Hey, boy, what's up?
Not much.
Ran down the driveway, out of breath. You want to help me? I'm harvesting some chamomile.
Look at this one, Mom.
Oh, beautiful. Alright, so a couple of points here in harvesting chamomile. If you have a bloom that gets to this point, which is where the seeds have really started to develop, you can see as soon as you really rub it, it falls apart to all the seeds. I always drop those back into the bed so that they'll reseed, because I don't really want that in my tea. It doesn't strain out well and you just end up with bits in your tea. Ideally, you want to catch your blooms about like this. Just pick them off with as little stem as possible. I'm harvesting in the late afternoon right now. I don't like harvesting chamomile early in the morning. The flowers aren't really open. It's hard to see what I'm picking. And later in the day, they're going to be drier, obviously, without the morning dew on them. They actually make a tool for this. It's kind of like a rake that you can rake over the top of the plants and pull the blossoms off much quicker. While that would make this a much faster job, I don't mind this. I don't mind spending 20 minutes picking chamomile. Maybe, obviously, if you were growing like a lot of it, trying to put up a whole lot for medicinal purposes, or making tea to sell or something like that, a tool for efficiency might be worth the investment. But I personally like having little garden tasks that are tactilely enjoyable. Like, I like the sound and the feel of this. The smell is wonderful. I wish you could smell it right now. And it's therapeutic. So I've seen those tools, but never really wanted to buy one. So right here is a perfect example of like the most ideal time to harvest your chamomile, is whenever the petals are flat and they're starting to bend back from the center. You can kind of see that happening in a lot of these. And here we have some that had gone too long. It wouldn't be a big deal if these ended up in my mix, but I just like to pick these and drop them. So as you can see, there's still a whole lot on the plant here that are not open yet, meaning I probably have another harvest about the same size as this one at least if I keep picking. The thing with anything flowering is that the more you pick it, the more you get. So like these chamomile plants, they're not growing for me. They're growing to make seeds. And though I'm going to enjoy lots of relaxing, beautiful tea from these plants, I can infuse oils to put in like soaps or salves for my skin. It'll be very calming for any sort of like skin issues. I mean, I just enjoy seeing this grow. The pollinators have really enjoyed it being here. That's not why it's growing. It's growing to make seeds to make more chamomile, because that's what plants do. They produce seeds to reproduce. So when I pick all these flowers, it tells these plants, you're not done yet, you haven't done your job. So it's going to put on more blossoms. As long, of course, as the plants are supported and they have the nutrition that they need in the soil, and as long as the weather is cooperating and supporting what they need. But with anything flowering, when you cut the blooms, you're going to get more blooms. Whenever you have anything fruiting, let's say for instance like cucumbers, whenever you pick all of that fruit, you're going to get more fruit. Whereas if you just leave the first fruits that go on the plant and let it completely mature and ripen and produce mature seed, it's going to stop setting new blossoms. So it's really important that you stay on top of harvesting in your garden if you want to have the most productivity out of your garden. So I haven't been perfectly thorough here. I mean, even just sitting here, I see several blooms I could go ahead and grab, but I've gotten most of them, and right now, just with the blooms that are already on this plant for like the next wave, I'll get at least another harvest this size, but if I pick those, I'll get more. Whereas had I just left these on the plant, it would have cut down significantly on my harvest. See, probably could pick at this a little more, but I'm gonna go ahead and empty my basket. Go in the greenhouse. Perfect. So this thing is pretty cool. This is an herb drying rack. When you're picking herbs for making tea or using medicinally, it's really important that you don't heat them up a lot in drying. So a lot of people think, oh, I don't have a dehydrator, I can't dry herbs. When in fact, a lot of dehydrators are actually warmer than you would want to dry herbs. Herb drying racks are really nice. Of course, you can make something like this. You can use like a window screen. You can dry herbs if you're just drying a small amount on like a flour sack towel on your counter. You don't have to have something special. However, if you have a working kitchen, counter space might be a premium, and that is exactly why I have something like this. I also just appreciate the convenience of being able to hang this up out here in the greenhouse. And once it is thoroughly dry, I can store it in like an airtight container. If you're unsure, like put it in a brown paper bag or something where it's gonna be breathable. You don't want to seal any moisture in with herbs that you're trying to store, because obviously they're just gonna mildew. But yeah, this should be pretty good. Now, if my greenhouse were not being very heavily ventilated right now, I would not want to necessarily dry herbs in here because it could get too hot for them. Right now, I'm not gonna let it get too hot for the herbs because I'm also not gonna let it get too hot for the plants that are out here, so it'll be okay for now. It's the best place I have. You know, a lot of times in gardening, you're gonna run up against things that are like best practices. This is the best time of day to harvest something. This is the best way to dry it or preserve it. And while some cases it is really important to follow the best practices for safety, in a lot of cases it's not make or break. Getting these herbs dried quickly over the next couple of days and then being able to save them so I can get the most out of my harvest, harvesting them in the evening instead of the middle of the day, is good enough. And I do think that this is the best chamomile tea that I could hope to have grown right here in my garden. I'm gonna put just a very little bit of local honey in this, just to add to the sweetness. So this time I grabbed a few mint leaves and put it in with this. But as the garden gets going, I'll have a lot of options. One of my favorite things to do is to grab some Tulsi, holy basil, and chamomile and do those two together. Both of those are just very calming. Lemon balm is also very good, also very calming properties. It's kind of early, late afternoon, early, it's evening I guess now. So that's why I added the mint, so this doesn't make me just feel like going to sleep. You can ice this too, so if you like drinking, I mean you could just drink it iced without sweetening it, but if you are looking for a way to kind of offset something sweet to drink, no, that's a big hang up for a lot of people, is the habit of sweet drinks. And it's one of the things that a lot of people stay kind of hooked on the grocery store for, is buying sweet drinks. And making iced herbal teas, and if you want it sweet, adding sugar or honey or agave, whatever it is that you want to do, can really be a great way to grow something at home that you don't have to buy at the store. It's so lovely. I will tell you that fresh chamomile flowers make a really nice tea. I don't know if I said this earlier, but you do brew this at 212 degrees, so it's like just boiling water for chamomile and mint, both of those. But you can brew tea with any of your garden herbs that you're growing for tea and do them fresh. It's nice doing it that way because you can just grab a handful of something and brew it, and if you don't like it, don't mix that stuff together again. Sometimes I'll get different basils. Rosemary can be really good thrown into some tea. Chamomile, lemon balm, different mints, and just grab yourself a handful. If it's not strong enough, use more. Crushing them a little bit before brewing can help release some of the flavor. If it's too strong, use less or add more water. It doesn't have to be a recipe. You don't have to find a recipe. Rose petals is another thing that you can use. There are a lot of possibilities, and the more you play with it, the more you're going to find what you like and what you don't like. In short, I think the message of this day, and it's probably because I just spent half an hour immersed in the delicious, glorious, relaxing fragrance of chamomile, but don't complicate your life. It just doesn't have to be complicated. The garden shouldn't be complicated. I said in a video the other day, I was talking about my stunted seedlings. I'm like, you know, I'm not gardening to be stressed out. I'm not trying to grow food for it to be complicated. People did this for a really long time. It wasn't complicated then, it doesn't have to be complicated now. If you've tried herbal teas in the past and you didn't love them, a really good way to just drink pretty much any herbal tea is to brew it and then put honey in it. And if you want to add a little bit more flavor than that, some lemon juice. So like honey and lemon juice, pretty much mixed together, you're making lemonade. And then the herbal tea just kind of adds flavor on top of that. And then of course you can like let that cool and then ice it, and then you have essentially like iced lemonade with herbal properties. I'm not using like a whole lot of sweet right now because I'm not eating very much sweet right now. I've been eating such a restricted diet for a while that just even a little bit of sweetener is a lot of flavor to me right now. But that said, I still just have to believe this is so much better for you than something processed that has chemical additives and flavoring and stuff like that from the stores, like local honey with herbs from your garden and lemon juice. I mean, there's so much to that that's beneficial. So just, if you don't like it, just add more honey.
Hey sheep. Hey sheep.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Boop. Oh, hey. You feeling friendly now? You need your snoot booped too? Boop. So these are the chicks we got from McMurray Hatchery, plus some of the black ones are the Moran's mixes that I hatched out. They hatched on Ben's birthday, which was March 6th. So they're about 6 weeks old now, and they've been out here for the last few days. So this is our future laying flock, plus a few roosters from those that I hatched out, which we'll probably keep. This is literally how I've ended every single day this week. I've been out here until dark. Maya's joined me, the kids have joined me, eaten multiple meals out here. I cannot tell you how good it has been for my heart to have my garden back. It's really special. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I bless you. Until next time.